Okay, so yeah, before we start, guys, do you guys have any question, anything in your mind you want to ask? This is
Ravi, I have few questions. So, like we have covered the rules part, right? In the in our last sessions. So, I have a question. Like I can see in the rules part, only equals, not equals, null, not null. How do we make it starts with?
where we did this equal, not equal. Um,
So, like we have those rules, right? Like where we have you have mentioned like A for
the
apple.
okay, so the decision table that we created, right?
Yeah.
This is what I say, right?
Yes. Here we can see only any is null, not null, right? So how do we
Mhm.
take starts with?
So we have that, like that starts with or includes in the query entity rule. Like if you want to create any query rule to fetch the data from the database, but here it doesn't support that. Okay. In this is a decision object which supposed on this many operators.
So I mean, how do we customize? Like if I need to use starts with, so
Mhm.
can we customize it or?
So in that case, what you can do is that you need to do something in your code. Like you have search text. Like if a text is having your subtext that you are searching for, then you can use the search text function to find out your text is available or not. But this is a
Where?
decision object. But decision
Mhm.
object supports this many operators. There are other way around to achieve that, but this is a particular decision object to achieve the if condition, like multiple if condition, nested if conditions. There you can use this operators on it.
So yeah, where do we achieve that? Where we can customize this part, not this rules part. I just wanted to achieve some contains or starts with.
Yeah, we'll,
So
we'll
where
see
we
those
do
things.
that?
I will come to that part. We have many functions to be out, right? We try to
Okay.
learn some of the functions like search functions is there. In the search function, if you pass the text, what text you want to find, from
Mm.
within which text you want to find, and from what position you want to find. So that will particularly give you the index if it is available or not. So search function
Okay.
is there. You can try with the search function as well. Okay?
Hmm. Yeah.
I just don't want to break the chain. I mean, we'll have one session for the functions where we can see all of those things. And about the index also, we have index function. We'll come to that. Okay. If I do it right away now, then you will, it might be messed up later when we use that. So I'm just try to use on the time before we use I started using the index. Okay. So we'll
Oh,
cover these things, not to worry. Okay.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. But good that you are practicing at least. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else has any questions? No. Okay. So what we did till yesterday, I mean last class, we created the tables, we created the associated CDTs, and also we created the associated entities so that we can read, write, perform the read and write operations. We see how do we create a CDT, data store entities. I'm sorry, not data store. The entities will be also, I mean, was also created under the data store. All right. So today, what we are going to cover is that, let's say, if we talk about our use case, a customer is visiting your bank. So there is a quite a possibility that customer is already existing in your system. Maybe he is already registered. He just want to open another account, or maybe he want to process with the loan process, right? So in that case, what we need to have is that first thing that we should be having a customer search feature where we can go and search for a customer, right? The other scenario is that a customer is a new, then we can simply start with the new account opening process, right? Or a registration along with the registration with the customers. So we need to consider both of them. Let's say if I mean, the bank has the customer already registered with them, and they just want to open a new account. In that case, we have to have a customer search UI. So we need to design that customer search UI. So like if you have searched for the first name, last name, or email address or SSN number, we should be able to retrieve that customer details so that we can proceed with the new account opening. Okay. Or if the customer is new, then we need to register them first. All right. Now in that case, if customer is already available, it means that in our customer table there should be some entries, right? Let's say we have this customer table. Right now it doesn't have any entries, so we cannot search anything, right? So if you want to implement that feature where the customer is already existing with us, we just open a new account, we need to first have a customer search feature. So we should have some data, right? So let's put some dummy data here so we can see how do we enable the search UI. We go to the insert and we start with some filling the details. Okay. Yeah, but it's a 9-digit, right? 24689. Okay. So we have added two details here. There are two customers are available in my system, so we can enable the search now. So yeah, any questions here, guys? How do we do the insert? We have just added some dummy data. No? Okay. So we are going to cover that how do we retrieve this dummy data information for the table to the Appian UI so we can enable the search, right? So let's talk about some query entities which is used to fetch the data from the database, and you can use that data to display on your UI. Okay. So how do we create a query entity? So we need to create a expression rule. I can give the name as get customer details. So this rule will fetch the data from COP underscore customer. That's the table name, right? Customer details. Okay. Let's create. Okay. So the rule that the function that is used to fetch the data from the database is called a bank query entity. Okay. A bank query entity is a role which is you will be able to fetch the data. So what are the parameters? If you don't remember the parameters, no need to worry. If you see here in the below, everything is given in the description. Okay, so you can use this description, you can use this documentation link to know about this function, how it works. All right. The first thing is that entity. How do we pass an entity? So now you see here, it also given the type. Entity should be what type? It should be type of a data store entity, right? Now, what entity we need to hit? If you go to the data store, you will see that there's an entity. So which table we need to hit? Which table we need to query, guys? Come on.
Customer detail.
Customer details.
Customer detail. Yes. So what entity we need to query then? In that case, which entity we need to map?
COP underscore customer details underscore entity. First one.
Yes. So this one, the entity we need to use, right? Now, if I do go here and I say COP underscore customer details underscore entity. Will it work?
It won't work.
Why it won't work?
If it works, then you will get a suggestion here.
No. The reason is that the type is saying what is required. It should be a data store entity, but what I have given is a plain text, right? This is nothing but a plain text, right? I have given the name of it, but it says I need a type, a data store entity. Then what I need to create in this case? How do I pass this entity as a type here?
Should you pass data store dot data source dot entity?
But still, that would be a text, plain text, right? So you remember I have discussed something at the beginning of the class.
We need to
There are
provide
certain
any bank,
functions.
any bank. We need to provide.
No. So in the initial classes we discussed about we have some object which is required to
Integration
pass.
object. Do we need to
No,
pass integration?
no. We need to create a constant. So we go and we create a constant here. So what is the name of that constant? It's going to be COP customer details entity. One more thing, Appian suggests that constant name you should always keep in capital to uniquely identify this. This is a constant. Okay. So this constant holds the data store entity that is COP underscore customer. Okay, now you see it says that type. So what should be the type? Data store entity. Once you select the data store entity, it will say which data store. So it should have our data store listed here, COP. Yeah. So we got our data store, and inside this we have two entities, right? We have two entities. You see here it will listed all both entities here. So we can select the one that we need. So we created a constant which is a type of a data store entity, and then we have selected that particular data store and then particular entity. We say create. Once you create a constant, then this constant is now being used as entity. So go to here, remove this plain text, and then for using a constant, we have cons, constant, and then the name of the constant. Once you select that, then it is a particular type of thing that is required. It says entity, which should be of data store entity type. Okay. Now second is that query parameter. So query parameter we need to use. If you don't know, it's already mentioned here. The query to execute create using a bank query function. So I will use a bank query function. Okay. Now a bank query function we need certain things. Let's say the one thing is mandatory, which is says paging info. Paging info is required to tell the function how many records we want and in which order we want. So we'll say a bank paging info, and then I'll say start index. I'll say from the first index and then the batch size. If I say the batch size as -1, it means that I want to retrieve all the records. Okay. If you put 1, 2, or 5, it means that I need only first 5 records. Okay. And then we also have a sorting info. So I want to sort a bank sort the data, sort info, and field I will say that based on which field. So I would like to have the based on the field customer ID, and then ascending true or false you can mention here. So this is a basic query rule which is required to fetch the data. Okay. So if I click on the test role, total count is 2. We are retrieving both information here, the first set and second set, because we have only two set of information here, right? If I go and add a few more, Okay. Now we have 4 information here. If I go and click on this rule, so the total count is 4 now. So now this query rule is being connected with the help of this entity to fetch the data from the database. Any question till here, guys?
So basically, why constants being used here? Like, what is the purpose of constants?
This
I'm
function is required
Mhm,
entity parameter to be passed as a data store entity type. You see here, the entity parameter requires a data store entity type.
mhm. Yeah,
So if
but
we
why are we
simply write it
integrating?
down, mhm,
Mhm. Why are we integrating the data source object with the constant?
then how you will pass the entity here without of that type?
Constant is not the any type of object, right? It's just a constant, like it's a fixed value.
No, you see that while creating the constant, you see that, right? It's any type as well. If you see here, you can create a constant of this many types, which is a type, right? So
Mhm.
application, Boolean, character system, date and time, document folder, task, report time, text, user group, all this type you can create a constant.
Okay, just like an object, and it will connect to the database via source, and it will
To
fetch the
define a
data.
particular type of value, right? This constant is basically holding a value, and the value
Mhm.
is this one, this entity of which type? Data store entity type. If you create a constant, you can also create a constant of type text of which
Even
value.
any of the variable will hold the data, right? So why can't we go with
Yes,
the variable?
but in a variable you cannot define the type, this data store entity. In variable you can define the type as a primitive or a CDT.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah.
So this is the query entity that we created, which is used to retrieve the information from the database. So we are getting all the 4 set of results here, right? Any other questions, guys, in this query entity rule? But now this is incomplete, right? Incomplete in the sense, like suppose if user is searching for a customer called Sumit, then why do we need to retrieve all the information and then from there filter out the Sumit? Why don't we just, while querying itself, we say that okay, I need data which where the first name is equal to Sumit, right? So we can add filters as well for that case. Okay. So how do we add the filters? So inside the query, just like the way we have paging information we have added, we can add one more parameter called logical expression. Okay. Okay. Before the logical expression, let's see the filters. So if you see what are the parameters the API query function has, it has filters, selections, aggregations, logical expression, paging info. Paging info we have already given. Now let's talk about the filter. And filter is required single filter. We say a band query filter. So this is the function is required for a filter. Now it says on what field. So what are the parameters of this function has? It has field, operator, value, and apply value. So I'm gonna say field. Which field I want to apply the filter? I want to apply the filter on first name, right? Then it should be same as the parameter that we were seeing it here. So first name. Now, what operator you want to apply on this one? So let's say you, Pranay, you was asking, right? So here you see the operators equal to, not equal to, less than, equal to, greater than, and then we have between. All the operators start with, not start with, ends with, not, and all these things, right? These are the operators that you can apply to the filters. Now let's say I would like to apply equal operator, and I say value. Value I'm gonna say Sumit. Okay. Now if I click on test tool, what will happen?
It will fetch
Any
the
guesses?
data from it.
So if I click on test tool, now it says that total count is 1. and we get only one set of information here, right? Any question, guys? How do we use a filter? But
Yeah, Ravi,
mhm.
here, okay, so if there is, matlab, if we have only one or two filter, then it's okay. Suppose if we have multiple filters, then will it be the same approach we need to follow?
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to this one, that multiple operators. This filter is only supports a single filter. For multiple, we have to go with the logical expression, right?
Okay,
Um,
okay,
yeah. So before going to there, any question, any doubt here in this query filter? How we are getting
no,
this filter out?
no.
Right. So what the meaning of equal operator?
Exact match.
Exact match. Exactly. Now, if I say I don't remember the full name. I mean, no, first name is like SUMIT or SUMEET. I don't remember that. I say that I know there is a SUM. Then how do we find? Instead of equal, I can say includes operator. So if here you can see all the list of operators are there. You can, and now I'll say SUM. I still get the result, right?
That means includes as like the like operator. Yeah.
Is like operator.
Okay.
Yeah. If I say A here, what do you think? What could be the output? Let me show you the details here. This is the data. We have applied includes operator and we are searching for an A. So how many result we are expecting? An
Three,
output. That is correct.
three.
But here we get total count three results because all the first name is having A within it. So here also A, AWA here and SYA, right? But this, if I use like this, a query filter like this with the fixed value, then it means that it is only going to work for Sumit. Whatever value will provide it here, I want to make it dynamic that whatever user will say to us to find, that should be the, we should get the output from here. So if I want to make it dynamic, what I need to do?
Role input.
That is correct. So we need to create a role input, and then here I'll say first name. This is going to be type of text. Okay. Now I go here and I say Sumit or SUM, whatever. Now here we need to replace this with
A bank.
role input,
Right.
RI, role input RI and first name. Now if I do like this, then it will work for Sumit. Whatever value user will pass, it will work for that. Okay. So now it's become dynamic. Any question?
No.
Okay. Cool. Now I would like to have multiple filters, not with a single. So for that we need to use,
Ravi.
yeah.
Actually, I want to know more about the rule input. Can you explain again, please? Rule input. I have some confusion about rule input. So, can you explain, please?
Okay. Um, Whenever you do a login to your bank account, right? You pass
Mm-hmm.
some value right to it. You pass
Yeah.
your user ID, you pass your password, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they might have some functions to receive your input,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, that
in their
that is the rule input.
right. So
Or
in their end, they have might created some input parameter, right?
so this is a store container as like.
Not a store container, but it's kind of a. So you have you created any stored procedures in database,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Do you
Uh-huh.
create a parameterized stored procedure,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right?
That
So
is the
what is
yeah.
that? Correct,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you are passing certain value to it so that
Yeah.
they can understand. understand on which value they want to do something, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
The same thing
Thank
is
you.
here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
All right. So I'm gonna say logical expression. Now this logical expression can work with the multiple operators, right? So if you see the logical expression, sorry, yeah, a bank query logical expression. So this is a function that is required for a logical expression. So inside this, you see it says operator. First, we need to apply the operator, and the operators are three: and all, and or. So let's go with the and first of all, and then it also has filters. Filters. So now we can use multiple filters. So one of them, this could be this. I'll just simply cut it, Control X, and put it here, and I can get rid of this one. I don't need this anymore. So if you do this coding, this is still same as the previous coding because we have used only one filter. If I click on paste tool, we'll get it. Now, if you want to add multiple, filters, simply copy this, paste it here. Now I say I would like to do the last name. So this should be same like this, the one that we are passing it here, last name, and then also I'll just use another rule input, last name, the type of text. Okay, I'll map it with the last name. Cool. So now if I go and say the last name is, let's say, Kumar. Can anyone tell me how many results I'm gonna get? If you want to see the in database here. So last time I am passing as Kumar, first time I am passing as MANI. So how many data output we are expecting here? These are
Are
the
you
input.
using and operator, Ravi
Now
here?
we have used includes operator. It includes. Again, you want to see the data? I'll show you here. Come on, just a while, guys. Okay. Imagine that query here. Select from CFP customer details where first name is like MANI and last name is like KUMAR. So what is the output you will get?
Only one output you will get if it is and condition. If both are true, only it will
Right. So what condition we have given?
and
If I click on the test tool, I'll get only one result, right? Now if I say, let me use Mohan at the last name. Now how many result I'll get?
0.
Okay, anyone else? If I click on test tool, I don't get anything. Why? Because we are using AND operator here, which means that both should be matched at certain place. But it matched but in a different place. So we get 0. If I make the change this to OR, then how many result will get? Let me show you the data.
2 results.
That is correct. So we'll get two results now. One which is matching with the money as the first name, and then one with the Mohan as the last name. So all depends on the which operator you have used here. It's just like the query select star from CFP customer details where first name is like money or last name is like Mohan. So we get two results. Got it? Any doubt, confusion? Okay. One more question, one question that they may ask you: what is the output of a query entity function? So the output of a query entity function is always a data subset. Okay, so it has many information. It has like start index, batch size, sorting info, and then total count, and then the dictionaries. If you and also the identifiers, it will always take the primary key of your data. So you see the primary key 1 and 4, 1 and 4. Right? Now, if you would like to have only the data, we just need to use dot data at the end of the query entity. So wherever the query entity is getting ended, just apply dot data. We'll get only the data here. Okay. Is that clear, guys? Any questions in this query rule logical expressions? We'll see if few more things are there, but till here, is there any doubt, any question? Yes, no.
One question, Ravi. Like I just wanted to use both or and condition, both the conditions.
So logical expression says it supports multiple logical expressions. So one logical expression for and you put one logical expression for or.
No. I just wanted to use like, for example, let me tell you, where gender equals to male, okay, and where first name or last name equals to Kumar.
So that's what I'm saying. No? This is one query logical expression you have added, right? So you need to add one more query logical expression with the or operator. So it will work for this one as an and that other one for or.
Okay, but
here you cannot combine both.
Yeah.
Right? It supports one single values.
Okay.
All right.
So within the query logic expression only, we can make one more or condition, right? Or
yeah, you see, no, inside the query logical expression, you have again a query logical expression.
Okay.
Right. So you can mix up the things here.
Okay.
Cool. So how many are getting afraid of this kind of code? I want a genuine answer. Namdev, Vijal, Siyata, Pranay. How many of you are?
Actually, Ravi, I can't respond because I am now in working place. So I just hear you. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. So anyone thinking a lot of code here?
Yeah, Ravi, little bit.
Okay. Let me delete all this code here. It took how many, like 30 minutes to describe and design this code? Everything is deleted. You see the top, there is a query editor. The second last icon, click on that. I would say query editor because we are using entity now. So I say based on the data store entity. It says which entity you want to pass. So the entity that we have created, I just pasted that entity here. Right? You see it's being connected with the data because it's returning the data. I hit continue. What we want all the rows. Paging info configuration is done. I want to sort based on the first name or the customer ID in ascending order. Now paging information is done. Now first filter, add the filter. I would say on the first name, I would like to use includes operator. Now input could be the input variable that we have created. So I'm going to select RI first name because it's already there. Otherwise you can also create from here. Add another filter. I would say on the last name, let's apply the includes operator. And then input could be the input variable, last name. Okay. Now test the query, generate the query. All the code is here. We just need to use dot data. If you want the dot data, click on test tool. Nothing is matching. Why? query logical expression. What?
We're using and condition, right?
No. Oh yeah, and condition, correct. Yes, true. If I say Kumar here, okay, right. 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, all the code is ready for you. Right? So don't afraid of the codes. There are lots of configurations are already there. I just explain everything to make you guys understand how it works. Okay, the same thing that we did, it's here also, right? Got it? How do we do that? Okay, now we have something called um, you know, inside this query. So we have seen this logical expression, the paging info. We also have something as selections. What that selections means, let me remove the dot data for now. Selection meaning is that right now we are getting all the columns: customer ID, first name, middle name, last name, SSN, DOB, everything, right? Now, if you want to retrieve only few set of information, because right now it's very small query, right? If you see, it's taking 12 milliseconds. Imagine you want to fetch millions of record, then your query entity might fail. It will say the timeout, right? If it can't retrieve the information within, I think, 8 seconds or something like that, it's taking a lot of time, the query will fail. It will say we cannot retrieve the information. And what you need is that you only need to retrieve like 3 columns of data, like first name, email address, and DOB, something like that. Right? In that case, what happens? Your query will fail. So how do we reduce our query size? So we can say, retrieve only few information, like batch size. You can define retrieve only 5 set of data or 10 set of data, and also we can reduce the number of columns of information. Right now it is retrieving all the columns. I just want first name, date of birth, and SSN number. In that case, what we can do? Go to the query editor, and here you can say um, remove all first of all, and then add. So I would like to have customer ID. I would like to have first name. I would like to have DOB, and I would like to have that SSN number, right? Generate the query. Now you'll see that a selection is being added here. A bank query selection function is passed, and then it says that which all column you want. Now if I click on test tool, I will get only that particular set of information: customer ID, first name, DOB, and SSN number. Got it? Any doubt? Yes, no?
Yeah, that's fine. But where do we configure these sales timeouts?
No, you cannot configure this timeout. That's what one demerit I have seen in Appian till now. If anything is taking time, if it fails, you can't do anything about it.
Okay, like if I need to fetch like 1 million records from the
Mm,
database, the first
mhm.
time it got failed, again it got then how do we
You
enhance
have to
the
re-trigger it. You have to
Mhm.
re-trigger it. Otherwise, you have to define in the batches. Like one time, you just one click, you retrieve only 1,000 of records. Second click, another set of 1,000. So here, if you see, right, start index 1 2. Let's say I say 1 2 2. It means that I would like to fetch the information of first two information, first and second. If I say here 3 to 4, it means that I want to have the data from third and fourth one, the one, third and fourth. So likewise, you have to configure this index dynamically. So first, like 1 to 1,000, 1,001 to 2,000, 2,001 to 3,000, like that you have to configure. So every time you click, you fetch the set of information. If you have to do a lot of query, but you cannot
but
configure the
but how
timeout.
do we configure them in dynamic way? For example, I have 1 million
Why not?
documents. Let's say
Mhm,
like as per the configuration, I can fetch first 1,000 documents. Okay.
mhm,
So if I wanted to fetch next 1,000 documents, how do we
mhm.
configure?
you should have a next button. When you click on the next, you pass the next start index and batch size. So batch size will always remain 1000, right? In
Mm-hmm.
your case, the batch
So
size will
paging.
always remain 1000. You have to configure the start index. You have to find it how dynamically you can find it. The first time it should be 1 2000. Second time it should be 1001, right? So you have to add the start index 1000 every time you click on next button,
Okay.
right? And then by
Oh,
using the rule input, you can configure that dynamically, right? You
yeah.
can create a rule input called start index as a number integer, and then you map it here. So first time it will be 1, second time whatever you will pass it from there to 1000, like that it will create, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Now what else we have? We see the selection, logical expression, operators, and everything. Okay, one more thing. It has been added here. The face total count is false. You only make it true if you need a total count. Right now it says false, right? Let me gonna make this as a true. I click on test rule. I believe it was giving the total count. Okay. So this is basically for the total count. I don't know why. A. Okay, fine. Now one more thing, let me explain here. First of all, let's see, we have used a operator called ignore filters with empty values. Okay, if I comment this line of code, this is inside the logical expression, by the way. Ignore filters with empty values. If I comment this code and try to click on the test rule, this fails. Why this is failing? That because we are not passing any value to this one. For the last time, it says null, right? You see, we have used includes and some values. So Appian says that if you want to use certain operators and then you're not passing the values, we will not be accepted. Otherwise, you tell me to avoid it. So this line says that avoid the null values. If you forget to put this line, because this has been recently introduced, before that we had this apply when. Apply when is not null or empty. What is not null or empty? RI bank last name. If my RI bank is not null or empty, then only you apply this filter. Otherwise, don't do this. So if I click on test tool, now it will work because it's avoiding here. So if you want to avoid individually, you need to apply the apply when parameter. If you want to apply thoroughly, this will just uncomment this line. So ignore filters empty value, then it will work. Got it? So that depends on your query. If you want to apply when individually, like okay, don't query any data if this is null, then you use apply when condition. Otherwise, you can use this one to apply all the filters. Okay, is that clear, guys? Any question?
Yeah, Ravi, I have a question regarding you just mentioned, right? If for long set of data, we need to have
Mm-hmm.
batches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, batch, okay, suppose there are 100 record and we have created, but we don't know in advance
Mm-hmm.
what is the number of records.
Mm-hmm.
Then suppose if I'll pass batch number 3 and already my batch size is 50 records, then it will be there will be no record. So there will be any exception thrown by Appian or what? How we
No,
can
no, no.
or
So right now we have four data, right? Right now there
right?
is a
Huh?
four data. Let's say I'm gonna say from fifth index to all the records. Click on test tool. Next one. Okay, it's let me minus 5, 5. Yeah. So now you see I'm getting null. So let's say it's 0 items. because from the fifth
Okay.
index we don't have any data.
Okay, but actually, suppose if we want to show user to in advance how many records are there
Okay.
for his understanding. So in that
Mhm.
case, how we can do? Whether we need to create some one more count query, somewhat similar, and
Yes.
we need to integrate to
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. So you can create a count query. How do we do that? Without having all those filters and everything. Let me show you. So let's say I'm gonna say I don't have any selections, nothing. Now here you just say 1,0. Okay, because I don't want any data. I'm not taking out this thing. Everything I'm taking it out as a comment. Okay. Now remove this dot data. Something else you're commenting. Okay, fine. Because of this. Okay, so I have commented my selection. I have commented logical expression. I have just the paging info is there, and the paging info I have mentioned 1,0. It means I don't want any record. I don't want any record. That's why I said 0. Right now,
Mhm.
page total count is 2. If I click on page tool now, I get the total count 4. You make use of this total count to retrieve your data, to give you a count. And it won't take, like, even there are millions of records, it won't fail because we are not retrieving any data. We are just getting the count. So you can use this. Other way is that you can create a stored procedure just to get the count. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. Now let's have some recall. What is a query entity function? Come on, guys.
It will fetch the data set from the data source.
What is the output of a query entity function?
Data set.
Data subset. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Which parameter is required to apply more than one filters?
Logical entity expression.
Query logical expression function is required. Right?
Mm,
Query logical expression.
mm.
What are the operators we have? Name any 5 inside the filters.
Equal, non-equal, includes, not include,
Yeah.
one, greater
Start with,
than.
end with,
But
all the stuff we have. Okay. Um, which parameter is required if you want to retrieve only selective columns?
selection filter.
Selection. And what function is required for that?
Not sure.
A bank query selection. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
If you want to create a query entity rule faster, where do I need to go? Which option I have to select? We need to launch the query editor. Okay, in the expression rule, right?
Okay.
Query editor where you can configure all those things. Good. All right. Any question, any doubt, guys? If you have, please tell me.
Actually, I missed that dot data. What is the purpose of that dot data? Uh,
If you don't want to have data subset, if you want to have only the actual data, you can use the dot data. Let me show you. I'm gonna say test rule. Oh, here I would like to. I have to get something. Come on, Lord. Oh, sorry. Best size -1. Okay. Now, right now you see that it has all the information, data subset information. If I say dot data, I will retrieve only the solid data dictionary. Okay.
Okay, so other information will be hidden in that case, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Now, let's say if you want to make this query selection also as dynamic, like whatever column you want to pass, you should be getting that information. Think and let me know how do we do that. Let's say if I pass customer ID in first name, then it should create a query selection for them. If I don't pass anything, it should retrieve all the information. So how do we do that? Think about it. Okay. All right. Let's stop it here, guys. We'll connect again tomorrow and we can continue the UI part. Now the query is ready. And also think about if you want to add more query filter here, I will be sharing the account details for practicing on the WhatsApp group today. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, Ravi, thank
That
you.
query entity rule is clear. Cool. All right, guys.
Yes.
Let's connect tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.